Nomad at Night, starring the one and only Nomad.
Yo, No Maniacs. Welcome to the show. This is Nomad at Night. I'm your host, Nomad, and to my right is Country Santa, and down there at the bottom is my guy, the Canuck. Listen, I got something to say real fast, man. And I believe YouTube guideline says no profanity before 90 seconds is over, kind of. And I believe we are past the 90-second mark. And I'm not going to give you no whole bunch of profanity right now because I got a complaint about that. We got a little bit too carried away with that last week, but I do got something to say. I got something to say, and I'm going to say it the way I damn want to say it. If it's wiggling, hit it. That's David Overstreet. That's Chicago-style football, and that's what the fuck I'm talking about. That's Chicago-style football. If it's still wiggling, hit it. That's exactly what I'm talking about, Chicago. That is Chicago-style football. And I'm glad we got somebody in that building teaching that mindset and that concept. Hit people. Make them fear coming across the middle. Make them nervous. And you start to see a little bit of that going on out there. You could tell it's being taught. And I'm excited as shit about that. I really am. If it's wiggling, hit them. If it's still wiggling, just hit them. And that is what you want. You want to be intimidating as a team, especially as a defense. You want to intimidate your opponent. And I'm so glad. I think that was, it was a lot of good moments during that show. That was a very good episode to me. But that's what I took away from it. Of course, I'm a defensive guy. And so naturally, I'm going to take to that, Kids and Brian. But man, you talking about if something was to ever get me riled up about watching some football in this upcoming season and the way they are training and preparing these guys, that got me. David Overstreet. If it's wiggling, hit it. That's how you win. I just want to say that before I go any further. I'm gonna pass it on to the Canuck because we got to go counterclockwise and let him give some shout outs to the No Maniacs. But man, woo! I'm just telling you, I'm ready.
My guy's hyped up. I'll give you guys some love, and then I'll give David Overstreet some love too. Junior just jumped in the building. Junior, what's up? You killed us on the way out. Last show, starting it up already for the after show. Aunt Moss, what's cracking? AC Adams out there. The Naj, an OG member of, he's a super no maniac. That's what he is. He's a super no maniac, guys. You should all be super no maniacs. The olfactors out there. Who else we got? Patty Laura. Hey, Patty, how's it going? Black Diamond's with us. Let's keep it moving. And I'm just gonna say that I think David Overstreet made a bit of a name for himself today. He got super hyped up with the It's Wiggling. I liked when he said, you guys remind me of myself. that cracked me up because, right? Like he was clearly proud of those nickel corners, man. He's proud and he's doing a great job clearly because that little group of boys, that group of men, is looking disgusting too. So
Naj, do you want to come in? You feeling froggy? Let's go. Jump, man. You can come on in. All you got to do is give me a thumbs up, and you can jump on here with us tonight because I do want to see that camo shirt. But I'm sorry, kids. I'm just overly worked up because that shit got me. I ain't going to lie to you. That's the way I was taught to play football. If that shit's wiggling, hit it. And it's let me shut up, man, because I interrupted your play, man, and I apologize.
It's all good. Country Santa, what do you got to say, bro?
Oh, it was a very good episode. I got a kick out of the coaches. To me, the whole team, they're having fun. And whenever you do things in life that it don't seem like a job, that you're able to have fun, everybody's looser. and I think you're more successful. I'm going to try to stay out of Nomad's way because I can tell he's already juiced up.
I'm listening, man. There are certain things. Everybody, if you listen to us enough and watch the Nomad Network enough, and you listen to me and my takes, I say a whole lot of stuff. I say a whole lot of stuff, and I mean it. But there are certain times when something really strikes a nerve with you, and that did it for me, man, because that's how I was taught to play football. If he's still moving, hit him. And the essence of, and it's going to sound like I'm selling, but the essence of football Chicago style on that shirt comes from that concept David Overstreet just said. Physical brand of football. Physical. That's what Chicago style is. It's physical. Very physical, very dominating. And to know that that's being taught in that building, at least in one position group, I'm pretty sure that's something that they're talking about in every room, but being physical, being dominant, that's what Chicago is known for being. We've had some years where we absolutely displayed that. The Lovey years, we were physical, we were dominant. And that just really, really struck a chord with me, man. And those DBs need to be thinking like that. They need to be thinking like that, because those guys coming across that middle, wanting to catch that ball, they're going to be feeling some kind of way because they know it's a missile coming at them.
Well, I mean, the smash mouth football, that's been Chicago style for 100 plus years.
True. I got you. I see.
That's it.
Yeah, man. You talking about a riled up MFer? I'm him right about now. I'm riled up, knowing that there's somebody in that building putting an emphasis on how to put a exclamation point on that physical part of the game.
Well, and something else, can't stress enough how important the coaching additions have been, how it is to the team, defense and offense.
Yeah, the coaching staff is coming across so good in this show. They're doing a great job of making just about every member of the coaching staff, of the brass, the entire Chicago Bears brass. They're doing a great job with them. Matt Eberflus looks very he looks like a seasoned coach out there. He does look like a CEO out there. And like part of what I really enjoyed today was actually him having a conversation with his quarterback. He's not, and like I was kind of surprised that, how did you feel about that conversation, Nomad?
Refresh me. I was reading the chat. You were talking about how Matt Eberflus is coming on.
How did you find the conversation between Matt Eberflus and Caleb Williams reviewing his tape of the previous game?
Oh, that was definitely cross training. That he was reading Caleb's read. He was reading Caleb, reading what he was seeing, and telling him exactly what he should have been looking at, and making sure that he saw his keys, and make sure that he identified what the team was trying to do to him, and where he should have been looking. Is he on the right track? Are you? I think Matt Eberflus eventually is going to end up being a really good coach. It seems as though Caleb respects him. He doesn't seem to be annoyed by him. I think he's receptive to him, and I believe that when you have a defensive coordinator as your coach, there's a particular advantage that comes with that. I know a lot of people in this in the fan base would love to see Caleb be coached by a head coach who's an offensive coordinator. There's definite advantages to that. But you have a really good offensive coordinator in the building, but the voice that overrides all of that is a head coach with a defensive mindset that can teach Caleb how to see the game better in structure and will speed up his learning curve, will bend that curve a whole lot faster. It's just that's what we're seeing on Hard Knocks. I'm believing that Kerry Joseph and Shane Waldron have a lot
Oh,
more input than what we're seeing. I
they
know
definitely do. I didn't want to because those guys haven't been as featured on the show thus far. That's fun because Caleb's going to have a much closer relationship with Waldron and Kerry Joseph, without a question. My question was really much more towards something you'd said earlier on the last time, with Caleb sort of with Eberflus sort of questioning Caleb and what he saw, and your take on it was like, stay on the other side of the ball, mind your business, do the defensive thing.
Mm-hmm.
Let these guys handle the offense. I thought it was great that he actually was able. Not only was he able to have that conversation with Caleb, but then you saw him have a similar conversation with Tyson Bagent down the road. And the conversation was, what did you see here?
Yep.
And Tyson was on the sidelines and he's looking at the play. He's like, okay, well, here's what I see. And what do you see now? Oh, they changed it, they disguised it, and did it right. So we're actually seeing Matt Eberflus teach quarterbacks or give quarterbacks a good understanding of what defenses are. And that's, that transition of knowledge is key. That's stuff that takes quite a while for a quarterback to fully grasp and understand and read and then become a gamer within the game. Those keys.
You know what it is, kids?
What?
It's like one of these days, if Tyson Bagent ever wanted to become a coach, a head coach, even Caleb Williams, that kind of cross training is almost reverse engineering. It's what it is. It's reverse engineering. You're getting taught to do these things and locate these keys and identify this, identify that, what to be looking at, what not to be looking at. And you're basically doing that based off what this team is giving you. When you can reverse engineer what the defense is doing to you and locate the tendencies, you get to understand the concepts of the defense and know where the weaknesses are. When you can he's basically teaching them how to reverse engineer everything that's going on. Everything. When you can reverse engineer an event, then you have an absolute understanding of exactly what's going on during that event. If you can reverse engineer it, kids, come on. When they get really good at that, danger, Will Robinson.
Well, and I think it's something that the whole team is adapting to. And why I say that, I don't know if you guys saw, I forget if it was today or yesterday, but there was a moment after practice where Darnell Wright is working with Montez Sweat.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, that's two different guys.
Reverse engineering, Brian.
Yeah, he's asking Montez, all right, more or less, what do you do with this? Or show me what you do that. You learn what the other person is doing. I mean, if players are doing that and then the coaches are doing that with players, I mean, that's talk about trying to get on the same page. That just, I mean, you're hyped anyway for the start of football season. I mean, all 32 teams and their fan base are. But when you see your team doing that, I mean, that just jacks up your excitement for the season to start.
Hey, Brian, there was a moment in my life, and when I was my freshman year in college, when my senior, and they claim me and I claim them, a senior will claim a freshman, and they're like, this is my rookie kind of thing. And he told me, he's like, man, you need to get with the best route runner on the team. This cat, I can't say his name, but he was an absolute stud at route running. He was from Plant City, Florida. And he said, you need to learn how this guy, what he wants to do to you based on what you're showing him.
Mhm.
So what does that mean? That means I give him a look, whether it's inside technique, outside technique, while I back off of him and give him a certain leverage, give him a cushion, or whether I come up on him and I decide I want to square up with him, but I give him a little bit of inside lean, so I don't want to give him the idea that he can take the inside route. I'll take that away from him and jam him there. He basically told me that to understand how this receiver wants to set you up. And at that moment, I didn't really get what he was saying. This receiver knows how to set you up. So based on what you give him, what you show him, he's going to perform and do something that's going to make you get out of joint in your coverage. That might sound like a whole bunch of garbled football talk, but as a DB coming up in college and my first experience with college football, to understand that took weeks, took weeks of conversation, film, and to know that that's going on inside that building at the highest level, knowing how to reverse engineer what people are trying to do to you. This kid is going to be really good as long as he keeps this mindset going on, as long as he remains receptive and being a sponge to what they're trying to teach him. He's going to be leaps and bounds ahead of people. You know what I mean? This is some really, really good stuff we just got.
And just as another example, say Rome Odunze. I mean, you can do this at any position. I'm just picking Rome because he's a rookie. I mean, he's got DJ Moore and Keenan Allen. I mean, 2 Pro Bowl or near Pro Bowl players that he can, hey, how do you do this? How do you practice? How do you take note? Blah, blah, blah. He can do that. Then he's also got Jalen Johnson, who he's working against a Pro Bowl caliber cornerback. All right. What is it that, I do that tips you off that you know what I'm doing, or what are you trying to do? So, I mean, he's got, all-star talent that can tell him both ways. You can call it reverse engineering, and when you see that, and I guess, as we said a couple of weeks ago, I was not in favor of hard knocks, but being able to see that, I mean, that kind of opens my eyes on, and I'm glad to say that I was wrong. I'm glad the Bears were on there. I was afraid it was going to be a distraction, and instead it shows it's making me more hyped for the season to start.
All I got to say, kids, is I got Brian Gilmore. Shout out to Brian Gilmore. I got Brian Gilmore energy. This is how I freaking feel. He said, this is Brian Gilmore. I got to be honest. I haven't felt this good about the Bears since Briggs, Urlacher, Lovie Smith. In those days, we are actually going to be better having a legitimate NFL offense, not just run game. Let's go. I got the same energy, man.
Mm-hmm.
I got the same energy. That is, I'm telling you, Chicago, do not temper your expectations. Do not tamp down what you think can happen this year just because your own individual skeptic is on your shoulder talking to you. Based on past instances, don't let your individual skeptic get on your shoulder and absolutely take over your psyche. I'm telling you, there's some good shit happening. There's some really good stuff happening, not only conceptually, but we've got the talent to match the concept. Whereas we never had that since this regime got there. This is the first time there was a fully loaded team that can match the concepts that we're trying to do out there to people. Man, this is super exciting shit right here.
Like yesterday's thumbnail, or I'm sorry, Sunday's thumbnail, Perfect Storm. That
Yep.
just puts everything in a nutshell. The coaching staff, the players, the draft picks, hell, even undrafted. Everything's fitting. You're watching a puzzle come together, and it's exciting as hell.
Yes, we are. And I'm nowhere near as excited as Nomad is. Nomad will definitely go full go now yesterday. He's probably ready to go a couple of
See
weeks
the
ago.
earmarks, kids. I just see the earmarks, baby. That's all.
I know what you see, and I see them too. I'm just a little bit cooler with my wad, for lack of a better thing to say. I was a little cooler. Mind you, I see. There's nothing that I see here that doesn't spell deep playoff run. Absolutely nothing. But again, I don't want to put any. These aren't expectations, guys. These are just. I'm just saying stuff. This looks beautiful. Like one of the great things that was said today in the show was our defense is better than it's are harder than these games. And that's a huge thing for Caleb to say. And I guess it's super early in his career, super early in the preseason. Who's to say what happens as we move forward into the regular season? But that's a huge thing to say. And why I say it is because that means the competition that he's seeing on a regular basis is stout. That's important because we all believe that this is a defense to be reckoned with, and we'll see that this season. The flip side of it is if he's learning how to beat this defense and he understands how good this defense is, it's going to make it that much easier to beat a much lesser defense or tougher defenses, right? So I like what they're doing around Caleb Williams. I want to bring up some other weird and wonky things. Notice the bag, y'all. So I think it was week 1 on like the media does some funky stuff to get at this kid, and I think he knows. I think he pays enough attention, and I think maybe it's a Hard Knocks thing. Maybe the producers at Hard Knocks noticed that folks were out there razzing him because he has a one of a kind bag that he puts stuff in. People have bags that they put things in. I think it's a Calvin Klein or Chanel. They're like, what? I'm not a fashion guy. I don't know. I could care less about the bag, but it's a thing, and people were razzing him about it. But you notice how frequently the bag was on the show today? It was on the show about 4 or 5 times, and they even closed the show with it, with him putting that first touchdown ball in that bag. So that's what the bag's for. Is to carry bloody touchdown footballs. That's what the bag is for,
He needs to get a duffel bag then.
He might have to get himself a bigger bag, though. You're right, Brian. He might have to get a bigger bag.
I'm with you though, Naj. I'm surprised you didn't say, number one, I'm surprised you didn't say something while we were watching the show about that, kids. I'm surprised.
About what? The satchel?
Yeah. I'm surprised you didn't say shit, but I was waiting for you to say something, but you didn't.
I don't like, because here's the thing. I'm not about any of that stuff. I could care less. I really could. I really could care less. But people will poke fun at him. Like the kid makes more money again playing football than I'll probably ever see. And most folks were making a little complaints will probably ever see. That bag alone probably costs a mint. Like it's not a cheap bag, I'm quite certain. End of the day, he puts footballs in it, yo. The ones he scores a touch, the ones he crosses.
He's going to be able to cut Ric Flair promos.
This is going to sound like
that's like 100%. That's a Ric Flair promo. I can see him being the Ric Flair football, man.
Yeah, that bag costs more than your house.
This is going to sound like I'm busting stones. Why? Because I'm busting stones. Kids, this is the Nod. He said, here we go, kids, with the reservation. He was talking about you when I was being excited about the season. You was just like, nah, I ain't going there yet. I ain't ready to go there yet. But
I'm not. Well, hold on.
Hold on. I'm going to give you all the opportunity in the world. Listen, kids, I'm just going to tell you this. I believe 100% you are the typical Chicago Bears fan. And I'm not calling you typical in a bad way. I'm saying this, that I think that Bears fans will absolutely let history dominate their psyche and not get over that. Not just, you got to flush that. You got to flush that and understand that every team coming into that building every year is a new one. This a few pieces still left over from the last one, of course, especially from the defense. But this is a new group of dudes with another mindset. With another mindset. Do you remember that bar that Caleb dropped?
What are you talking?
Something with Bears win. I can't exactly remember what it was, but that was a bar. Somebody told him it was a bar while he was in the huddle when Flus told him to go break it down. You remember that?
I missed it. I don't remember.
Yeah, but kids, I'm telling you, it's really.
I know what you're telling me.
All right. I'm gonna be quiet.
I know what you're telling me. You're telling me to get excited about this team, and I am excited about this team. I am just I'm a realist across the board, and what I know is that if this team can make it to Game 4 with a positive record, I'm going to start to lose my stuff. If they make it to Game 7 with a positive record, I'm going to start to really lose my stuff. If they make it to Game 10 and they're vying for NFC North title case scenario, I'm going crazy. I'm not going to, like I'm telling you, I'm just cooler with my wad, bro. I'm saying I'm just cooler with it. I'm going to be cool for a little bit and watch them build this thing and enjoy the watch all the way across. But there are little milestones in my mind that this team needs to cross because I think it can go all the bloody way on some surprise shit. Yeah, I try not to swear on this show, but there you go. Like on some surprise stuff, I think this team can potentially vie for a Super Bowl.
Kid.
Like, ask me what parts of the team are weak. There's really only like 2 areas of question. We talk about them ad nauseum on a weekly basis. So I'm under the impression that this team can go a lot further than most folks will give them credit for. But I want to give them the opportunity to do it. I also want to give them the opportunity. I want to give the rookie the opportunity to be a rookie.
Kids,
that's a big thing.
You know what I see going on? I see a plan being hatched out in front of our eyes, but we don't know the detail. I believe there's a reason why they decided that, we don't need to play Caleb in the last preseason game. We know what we got. We know it's going to take time for him to develop. This is me thinking what I think they're thinking. This is why we built all that strength in this defense. So that can be so overwhelming, so that the defense can be so overwhelming. It provides him, Caleb Williams, the opportunity to grow into his job and get comfortable at it. While he's doing that, they are still in position. He's good enough to make a few plays during the game to keep us and give us some wins. He can make some plays in moments that can give us some wins, and that's going to keep us where we need to be. And while that's happening, the defense is going to get a little bit like, hey, man, come on, man, we need to get this dude going, because they're starting to get a little worn out because they're carrying the weight. But, there's a reason why I showed you guys what the Ravens team looked like with Trent Dilfer that threw less than 1,500 yards that season. There was a formula going on. There was a formula that was happening. Defense, special teams, running the ball, keep us in the game. And this guy can do enough to get us in tight moments and get us some wins. And I think that's what's happening here. And somewhere down between week 7, 8, 9, somewhere in that neighborhood, Caleb Williams is going to be absolutely way more comfortable than he was starting this season. They know they're going to be going into the season with a somewhat shaky rookie. There's no question. We can talk like a motherfucker about all this, about what Caleb is, what he can be. He's going to be shaky at first. It's not going to be good looking all the time. It's going to be moments is what it is, but we got a good enough defense. We've got a good enough special teams that can keep us right where we want to be, where the kid that's got some special in him can do some special shit and win games. I know everybody wants to say, no, man, don't get so carried away. I'm telling you, that's how this thing is set up.
Yeah, I'm like you're excited about it, and I'm not here to temper your excitement, but I'm not going to get any more excited because I'm a little bit older than you, and my heart can only take so much after that double dunk. I'm just saying. I was on the floor of my living room holding my heart. That being said, let's step away from that and the scrolls. I believe, bro. Like I do. Not that one, the previous one, but still, I believe. I think this team and what I'm saying is I believe that this kid can be the first rookie to win a Super Bowl. That's what I think happens this season. By hook or by crook. That's what I believe. I've articulated it. It's on YouTube. Right? Outside of that, I'm gonna take the baby steps and see what happens along with the rest of you guys. Because Nomad, as you're going through how you feel the season is gonna go, you're hitting the same milestones I'm hitting. Right? There's the Texans game, the big test Leo Factor was mentioning out there. The big test. Then there's the next test against the Rams. And then there's a couple of games where we get to watch this rookie really come into his own. Then we get the big test again on the second half against the San Francisco 49ers, the guys who won, who represented the NFC. And then you get the gauntlet. This shit couldn't be any better, y'all. It could not be better. You get the NFC gauntlet. And you end the season and we figure out who the new king of the North is. And I'm just saying, I have a strange feeling the new king of the North is Chicago, and I have a feeling they're going to be the king of the North for a really long time moving forward. And what King Cole said comes to pass.
I got a question. I got a question for you, man.
Never give it back.
And you and Brian, I got this question for you. Now, I was so glad that they brought up and it was documented about the whole situation with Matthew Judon. 32 years old, coming off of a biceps injury. Poles did say that, the fact that he didn't have a lower body injury made him more encouraged about signing the dude. He's going to give up a third rounder for a 32-year-old pass rusher. A 32-year-old pass rusher. Usually I don't normally put an emphasis because I do think he's got a lot of meat on the tires. I do. But you're talking about you got a young ascending number 94 that dude has got energy you can't keep off the field. And you're still going after a 32-year-old pass rusher to put you over the top. That's what that move was for. To put you over the top. That means somewhere in that building, anywhere you can call it Ryan Poles, somebody in his circumference thinks that we have what we need to get over the top, and this is a piece that will do it. Nothing changed my mind about that. He was looking for a piece that put us over the top. He was looking for that. It wasn't like I want Matthew Judon to help us build our franchise for years to come. You're not going to have him for years to come. You have him for 2 years tops. And he went after him. What does that say? If that doesn't tell you guys, Chicago, you Bears fans, if that doesn't tell you guys that inside that building, they think they have what they need to win. Why in the hell are we being so reserved? That's my question. Why?
Because you can take that two ways. You could take that as, hey, we're just one player away from, taking this to the big dance, or, hey, we're really weak here. We need to do something. I think it's the first one, but you can't just totally. Well, I guess you can because it balances this team. Never mind what I said. I think he's trying to get this team to the Super Bowl. We dreamed about, making it to the playoffs, but I don't think just making it to the playoffs is enough.
Wow. Nomad, in this respect, I am actually in full agreement with you, and I've articulated it previously. I said if you see a move, if you see him, sorry, Brian, if you see a move like this be made,
if it was Trey Hendrickson, I'd feel different.
Well, you wouldn't just feel differently. It would be a long-term move, right? Like that's a long-term move for the next 4 years potentially.
Exactly.
Plus, Matthew Judon is a little bit of a shorter situation at 32 years old, right? They also weren't able to come to a contractual agreement with his agent at the time, so they might wind up bringing him in and losing him, just like Hassan Reddick, right? It could be another Hassan Reddick situation. So they decided to opt out of that. I agree, but I do agree with you in that Ryan Poles is signaling let's do this thing, right? Like let's go challenge. He's ready to take the challenge. And I fully agree with that. I do, strangely though, as much as Ian Cunningham mentioned in that same office in conversation, I think Austin Booker's the guy. I think they found the guy. Yeah, he might be a diamond in the rough. They did what they needed to do to swindle a fifth and get that diamond in the building, but I think he's good. He's developing a lot faster than I think anybody should. Like that, I think you probably have to give him a lot more credit for developing as fast as he has. And what I'm saying is, even Ryan Poles said in a year he'll be a guy. That was his comments on Austin Booker. I think he's a guy now, and in a year he'll be a monster.
Dante, I did see that the helmet communication. That's just some basic shit that happens on, from time to time. These people work at that stuff every day in practice to make sure the audio is right, the communication network, the server is right, and all that kind of stuff. Every now and again that happens. You don't expect that to happen during the game. And I believe, you know what, Dante, I'm gonna tell you the truth. I believe that was set that way. I believe that was set up that way to see what Caleb would do without communication coming through his headset. How would he audible and call, whatever he was trying to call on his own? Did he look at his sheet? Did he look at his wrist? What did he look at? And what kind of mind does Caleb have? You might think that's crazy, kids, but
no, I don't. Come on, you know me better than that.
I'm just saying,
like the original conspiracy theorist spirit. I think that just might be exactly what it was, and at the same time, I'm just gonna say, did you guys see or notice any flags, any false starts during that little sequence? Because I didn't.
Nah, it was clean.
So a little bit of this, no flags, no laundry.
I would want to know what my quarterback, how his mind works when he can't get communication from me, because trust and believe it's going to be times when that actually happens during the game. It's going to be loud. You can't understand what's going on. You think you understand what was going on. Can you go out there and operate without the assignment coming in your headset? Can you audible to a play that works for that moment? And that's one way to find out if you have that in your quarterback. How did he operate? What did he do when he didn't get direct assignment from me? That's one way to think about it. Is that really what was going on? I don't know. But if I was a coach training him, I would definitely give him that exercise just to see.
It's a great little conspiracy theory. I'm surprised that it came from you. I honestly, I'm serious. It's totally something I would come up with and not share on the show. I would say it after the show, in backstage. It's totally something I would say. But yeah, if it was planned, brilliantly planned, and what we found out was that he's not going to panic and he's not going to lose. He's not going to false start. He'll figure something out. Although those things might not have been, positive yardage, it might not have resulted in positive yardage. It didn't result in negative yardage.
Yeah.
All right. So that's definitely an upside either way, man. But I like the way that I like the way that Hard Knocks is making a story out of all this. They're doing a great job. The Eberflus daughters again. You know, God love them. God bless them both. God bless them both. They're football geniuses. I love it. I think they should apply to any organization within the NFL, and I think they deserve a job. That's
All right.
just me.
I do have something to say that, and I think if anybody that watched the show, and most people that came in here on the show, except for, I think, who can I think of right now? Was it AC Adam or somebody? I think it was Mayhem might have come in the show and said that he didn't get a chance to watch it yet. But if you watch this show, watch it again. And what you're going to come away with is this thought. And I said it while we were watching it, kids. I'm just about to repeat it. I think Tyson Bagent is making it clear that he doesn't want to be somebody's backup. Am I the only one that felt that? He's like, dude, I don't want
He
people.
can think and want all he wants.
No. I'm not talking about what's going to happen here in Chicago. But did you hear the intention?
Here's what I'm going to add to that and just say that, you know, recognize the starters ain't playing on Thursday, right? This is the big moment, guys, as far as Travis and Tyson are concerned. Travis had a great showing. Big up the guy. I think he's awesome. He's actually he's a character that I would love, honestly, him and Greg Braggs. I would love to go to a Bears game with those two guys. That would be a fun afternoon. I have to say. In any event, I think this is Tyson Bagent's big opportunity to find himself and present himself to the world. I think he's done a great job of presenting himself in every opportunity he's had thus far. And I also know that the Las Vegas Raiders really need a quarterback solution.
I just know this, man. And Tyson Bagent has every right to feel like he feels about himself as a quarterback. You know, everybody's excited about Caleb Williams. Yeah, I'm here, and I'm an undrafted rookie free agent who played some last year. But I feel really good about I'm just thinking like Tyson Bagent's probably thinking. And I don't want to be mired in a situation for the next couple of years where I can't play. I'd rather you guys trade me, put me on a team that I at least have another chance to, put me on a team where I can at least challenge for a starting job. He will not challenge for a starting job here. And he knows it.
Of course,
and so I think you heard some of that energy coming out of him. And I can't blame him, man. He manned up about it to me, and I respect it.
He didn't just man up about it; he was honest about it, right? He came out there and he said, "Look, there's things I want to do in this league too."
Yep.
Right. There are things he wants to do, and I don't blame the kid for a second. He's doing a great job with every iota and inch of God-given talent he's got, and the work he's putting in. I think he deserves an opportunity someplace else in this league, and I can see it being Las Vegas. It just makes sense. And here's my trade. I would say a third plus AJ McCarron to Chicago for Tyson Bagent. This way they get themselves a potential starter. We take on their developmental quarterback. We don't lose a quarterback, but we get a third.
Brian, the guy is never going to come out and say, I want to be traded to another team so I can get a better opportunity. He's never going to come out and say that. And he knows how to play the politics of the NFL. He knows the decorum. He understands it. You can't say that. But you can sense the intention. Could you not, Brian?
Well, yeah, sure. I mean, competitive. Me personally, I hope he sticks around for the year and then look to trade him sometime in the off season. But yeah, I'm sure it's kind of frustrating. He came in last year, did better than what I thought he would do. He won 2 games. He only lost 2 games. And then, you get the number 1 draft pick who's, supposed to be generational and so far looked the part. Yeah, I'm sure it is frustrating. You think that, you may have a chance and then all of a sudden somebody better comes in. Who would have thought that the Bears would have 2 decent quarterbacks?
And we might have 3, Brian.
That's
Maybe.
true.
Maybe
all this shit's a perfect cocktail, a perfect soup, the perfect brew, man. You know, I'm never one, and I'm like King Booker. Let me put that back up. King said, shout out to King, man. He said, I'm glad that he has that mindset. Wouldn't want a backup satisfied with being a backup. That's exactly fucking true, man. I grew a different level of respect for Tyson Bagent after watching this. I always had respect for him, but I just grew another layer of it. Listening to him talk and believing in himself and being that confident and like, man, listen, I know this is Caleb Williams' team. Great. And I don't mind being here to do what I need to do to help that process, help myself. But I know what this is. This isn't a place conducive for me and my growth. I want to be more than I am. And he's not satisfied. And I think at some point, Poles has to recognize that. And, you know, be honest with you, I know everybody's going to say, you know, he doesn't have a choice. He's on the team. We can keep him. We don't have to trade him. We'll have a nice backup. Poles can take that route. But I don't know that you're enduring a whole lot of goodwill doing that. I believe
goodwill, man. I'm just saying, ain't no goodwill in business. It's business is business is business. If Poles can get,
there's a lot of goodwill
again, huh?
There's a lot of goodwill in business.
No, the goodwill is a business, and they don't make money.
Oh man, stop that! Come on.
I'm just. It's a charity, right? It's not a charity. It's a business. He's trying to make money. He's trying to capitalize. And the best thing about Tyson Bagent is that he was an undrafted free agent. So we didn't even put any real investment into this kid other than the development that he's allowed him to get from the Chicago Bears. So the kid's been developed. He's better. Any level of draft capital is an improvement on the investment. Like you know what I mean? Your stock is Tyson Bagent's stock has risen to the level that any sale is worthwhile. And that's fantastic. That's a great place to actually be. The reality here is that if it was me and it was the Raiders, I'd stick them too. Like I did say at third, I'd try to stick these guys just because you can. I'd be asking for 2. Forget it. Guys, like, how much is a quarterback worth to you guys?
What do you? But realistically, I think there's a couple of teams out there. You got to look around the league, and what he might be worth to, let's say, the Tennessee Titans versus the LA the Raiders. 2 different worlds. You know, we talking about a quarterback battle out there in with the Raiders versus a team that feels like they know what they have.
But so from what you were just saying, though, from what you're laying down, you're looking at sending Bagent to a place where he can at least compete for a starting job, and that's what's that's what's in the best interest of Tyson Bagent. But it's also in the best interest of a negotiated deal. You don't just want to dump him for nothing.
No. Now let me be clear. You don't just see we using the wrong terminology. I never said dump. I'm talking about. Kids, we've been talking about this the entire off season. We've identified for some months. As soon as Bagent Getsy got the job out with Vegas, that this was a strong possibility.
I think it still is,
and I do think the brew is cooked up and it's smelling. And I think you definitely pick up the phone there and see what you get. And I don't think that's called dumping. At that point, the Raiders need this guy in order for Luke Getsy to be successful, in order for the coach to be successful, the head coach to keep his job. He's got to ask the offensive coordinator, who do you need to make you feel comfortable about running your offense? His guy was Tyson Bagent. Am I wrong or right?
No, you're billion% right. And the difference between what I'm saying and what you're saying is this. Am I going to call the Raiders? No. The Raiders are going to call me.
Well, I mean, we get into semantics.
That's
yeah.
no. It's not. It's literally. It's not semantics. And why I'm saying this is because if the Raiders call you, you're in the negotiating chair. You can dictate what the price is. If you're calling them, they're in the negotiating chair. They can dictate what the price is, and that's the difference between a second and a third, or a third and a fourth.
What's up, Black Diamond? I see you, man. My boy Petty, man. I saw you, the first one in here too. But yeah, I hear you, kids. I think the language we use about trading a pick, especially when it comes to an undrafted free agent, I think he's definitely graduated past undrafted free agent trade capital without a question.
No,
You know what I mean?
He's great trade capital right now. He honestly is.
I'm going to pour a little bit of water on this. How long do you think Getsy's going to last out in Vegas?
This year, bro. Hey, but hold on. But that also affects Antonio Pierce.
Yes, that's why I mentioned it. That's why if they don't have the right quarterback, the offensive coordinator can work with, they're in trouble and in trouble fast.
Pierce is gone, right? Yeah. Like Pierce is gone.
And he's a black man. So it ain't gonna last.
You said it, I didn't say it. But
the truth.
You know, there's a list out there. Feel free to Google it.
And we know what a moron that Davis, I mean,
I'm just saying, Brian. I'm just saying, if Antonio Pierce goes into this season with Luke Getsy as his offensive coordinator and Gardner Minshew as his quarterback, it's going to be an ugly season for the Las Vegas Raiders. And to make matters worse, he'll probably lose his job next year.
The truth is, Gruden screwed that team up, and they let what's his name from New England come in there and give him a double doink. Extra screw.
Oh yeah, that.
You know what? Gruden didn't. Yeah. Don't blame Gruden. I'm
blaming Gruden. I'm blaming Gruden. He made some terrible draft picks. History
he didn't pick those guys. That was Mike Mayock.
You think that Gruden didn't tell Mike Mayock to pick them? You smoking something.
Mike Mayock's like a guy, man.
Mike Mayock is the guy that Gruden picked.
I think Clellan.
This I can give you
some
Mike knowledge on. Mike Mayock was Gruden's pawn. Trust me when I tell you that. He was handpicked by Gruden to do exactly what he told him to do in the front office. He picked those guys.
Okay. It was Gruden's fault, but I blame McDaniels as far as the Raiders is concerned. I think the Raiders was in a decent spot, even though Clellan Ferrell didn't work out the way they had hoped. Max Crosby stepped in and started to work out, so I think it kind of evened out a little bit there in that respect. The real problem was McDaniel came over and decided to get rid of Derek Carr and brought in. He made a huge mistake at the quarterback position. He basically went nuclear option and brought in Jimmy G, who then got hurt, as Jimmy G does. And now they're looking for a quarterback. Like, they didn't have a quarterback problem until McDaniels came in the room.
Everybody Peterman.
Hey, everybody that's tried to install that New England offense, that style, that particular way of playing football, every coach of I don't know a coach of Bill Belichick's tree that was successful. I don't know one. Everybody's been trying to recapture that New England magic of what they were doing, and these dudes have been ripping off franchises. I'm talking about ripping them off. I mean, these dudes
Charlie Weiss with my Notre Dame Fighting Irishman.
I mean, they are terrible, man. You can't recreate what Bill Belichick and Tom Brady did with some assistants and some position coaches and some no. But I think they understand that now. You see that neither one of those guys were in the hiring cycle. And that just the NFL knows, the league knows that that was a good idea for about 5 years, and they took money from organizations for about 5 years. They are terrible, man, at head coaches. They're a terrible people person. People, I want to say. And they just, in this league, you're talking about a bunch of millionaires. You can't treat them like there's some, substitute scrubs, man. Got to talk
Well,
to them like men.
yeah, it's important that you say that because that's kind of the way that the culture was apparently in New England. Bill being the the ultimate guy in all of that, everything sort of rolls up to Bill, and he made the decisions. That come from having years of respect and building a Super Bowl dynasty. You know what I mean? Like he deserves the respect that he was offered and got and maintained in New England during that time. The funny thing is that then you have your Matt Patricia go to where he goes. You have your McDaniels go to where he goes, and they try to implement the same level of respect. And they're not Bill Belichick. They didn't build a dynasty team. They just worked there.
Bill Belichick.
And unfortunately, you know what I mean? Unfortunately, they just don't get the same level of respect implemented in those other places. And it's always a people issue after that. Because, they were sticklers in a stickler system, and now they have to deal with everybody else who doesn't want to be ruled with an iron fist.
Kind of look at
let me hold on before you go.
Ryan.
Brian, before you go, let me circle it back for the people that's just joining the podcast and just now getting involved. Man, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe if you're new to this channel. Please, we can definitely use your support. We're asking. We're not telling. We're asking. We just need that. But if you are willing and able, $4.99 gets you a membership, and we're real close to the amount of members that we need to start doing private members only podcasts. We're also going to do subscribers only podcasts to appreciate all these people that have come in, 1,700 going on 1,800 people subscribing to the channel. We're going to give you some exclusive content too. And so, but let me circle it back. Let me circle it back to what we were talking about, how we ended up talking about the Raiders and Bill Belichick. We're talking about Tyson Bagent and him making it clear that he thinks of himself a lot more than, what's going to be offered to him in Chicago, which is a backup role. He'll never be more than a backup here in Chicago, and he knows it. And he made it clear that he sees himself as something different than a backup. And I believe Kez doesn't think there's any goodwill in business. I think there is. I think when out of respect and potential opportunity, if opportunity knocks, that is good enough. If the Raiders did make that call, and let's say, you know what, we'll give you a 4 for him. Take him. Take the 4. He's an undrafted free agent.
Yeah. So I mean, a 7th round is still a plus, but
we try to get him to a 3, right?
So there's this awesome thing that's called capitalism, where people capitalize off of opportunity. And this is an opportunity that I think the Bears can capitalize off of. So remember that time that we went to the Raiders and we really needed a pass rusher, and they basically took their fist and we paid 2 first-rounders for it?
Yeah.
So I don't expect us to get 2 first-rounders for Tyson Bagent. Don't get me wrong. But
at the same time, you ain't bending
offer
over.
Me, ask me for a 4th if I'm in the negotiating table and I'm chair and I'm running it. Ask me for it. Offer
also,
a 4.
where's that 4 at? Where's that 4 at? Where's your 4? You know what I mean? Because there's
all
different
the more reason for a 2.
What's that?
I said all the more reason for a 2. Therefore, it's going to be pretty. Therefore, it's going to be again. They're without a quarterback. They're at the bottom of They're going to be at the bottom of their division. That's me saying this. I'm pretty sure that's a scenario for them. It's either them or Denver towards the bottom end of the NFL of the AFC.
Raiders. You take Adams out, and
I'm hearing Scrolls.
You take Adams.
And he's saying that the Raiders 4 is really a late 3.
A late 3, it is. It is.
And so that makes a difference too. I bet your Scrolls has went and researched and found that out.
Is it just me, or like, am I the only guy who wants to like fleece the Raiders a little bit on this?
You can, if you can, but if you can't, you gotta.
Jerk? Am I a jerk, y'all?
Yeah, you're a jerk.
In the chat, let me know if I'm a jerk. I just want to fleece the Raiders a little bit for the Mac deal.
You're opportunistic.
In this situation, if it was
think about this, kids.
Right.
Here's what I think, and I'm going to say this out loud. I've said it on Twitter probably 2 or 3 times by now. This is what I see playing out. I think right about now, if the proper trade for a defensive end that they want, the window closes and the price is too high on that preseason going into the regular season, and we have to wait until the trade deadline, the price is going to be better and in our range, then I can see. This is what I see going on with Vegas. I think they're in a position where they need to tear it up, absolutely tear it up, and get everything they can for the pieces that they have. And they have 2 main pieces. They have Devontae Adams and they have Max Crosby. We have no interest in Devontae Adams. However, Max Crosby, come trade deadline, they realize that they need to get assets to start rebuilding this team. And these are, like I told you guys, Khalil Mack was when we started rebuilding. He's a luxury piece. And so is Devontae Adams and Max Crosby. I think those 2 guys are going to come available come trade deadline. No, we won't have any interest in Devontae Adams, but Max Crosby, I think, is going to be in play.
I disagree with that take.
Okay, why?
Because of Antonio Pierce. This is his shot. He's not letting go either one of those guys. Not this season. If he flunks this season, just as we established a minute ago, he's gone.
Some of that shit's above his pay grade, kids. And
no. It's his. Well, I mean, he's the head coach of the team. He's working with the GM. If the GM flushes his offensive linchpin and or his defensive linchpin,
he's just got to roll with it. He ain't got no.
There's no rolling. The GM just fired him. That's what's just happened. You just fired me, bro.
Okay, it happens. It's happened all the time. That shit happens all the time. If they don't win right away, there's going to be a tank. There's going to be a lever that GM pulls. We're talking every goddamn thing out.
If you're talking about like trade deadline case scenario where they're already 0-6, yeah, I could see them doing it because then he's getting fired regardless. He may have been fired already, right? Like there's those things to put in.
It's reality, kids.
Right.
The truth is that guys like him, they get some. But oh God, I was about to say the wrong thing. Some horrible situation. He got the head coaching job, but what a horrible situation that he was placed in after 2 guys just went and wrecked that entire roster. You know, once they realize that they can't win with the guys that they have, and it's pretty obvious. The GM is going to start doing things. He's going to have conversations that don't involve Antonio Pierce, and then Antonio Pierce is going to get the results of those conversations. This is what we're doing, Antonio. We love you and we appreciate you and we want to keep you, but this is what we got to do. And he's going to be like, oh, fuck, it's one of those again. But guaranteed, unless they get off to like a 4-0 start, the Raiders are doomed and they are going to sell those pieces.
Well, those pieces have to be sold at I'm just saying at the beginning of the season right now when a Tyson Bagent is a potential piece for them, right? They're not going to trade either one of those guys to get a Tyson Bagent. They're just not. They might do that later in the season. But here's the thing about them not doing it later in the season. If they shit the bed, they're aiming towards a top 10 quarterback pick anyways. So you don't make the Bagent trade at that point at all. And you keep your Devontae Adams.
I think they're 2 different conversations. I think the Getsy Bagent thing is one thing. That's giving them the last minute opportunity.
Well, that's the only reason I'm talking about the Raiders. Is basically
that's not going to even be a factor come trade deadline. That's going to be strictly Max Crosby thing, and how much do you want for him?
Fair. Okay. All right. In that respect, if the Raiders are not doing well come trade deadline, either one of those guys is definitely on the market. Like you're 100% there. If we're talking with Bagent, I don't see the two.
Antonio Pierce is a tough-minded coach. He's going to be able to get strain and extra effort out of those guys, but it won't make a difference when you don't have the right guy running your shit. If you don't have, I can see it from a distance. That shit ain't together, man. That shit ain't together.
You hired Luke Getsy, bro. All we needed to know. All we needed to know is 2 weeks of offense with Shane Waldron. That's really all we needed to know. 2 weeks of watching Shane Waldron vanilla offense. It operates. There's little to no penalties, and even the second string offensive line looked pretty decent. These are just things to say. In 2 years with Getsy, snaps, flags, screens. Yeah. And if Antonio Pierce didn't see that before hiring the guy, sorry, bro.
I think the most combustible there's actually three, but I don't think the third team that I'm thinking about is Atlanta, because it's Pace down there, and he just basically gave away the farm to get a couple of players to.
They just grabbed Judon too.
Yeah, and they just grabbed Simmons, which is going to either make or break what their plans is this year. I didn't think there was a team that was going to be able to compete this year, but I guess and Ryan Pace got a freaking promotion. They basically bumped him up to vice president player personnel. Vice president of the team. And that's crazy. They might be a team that's looking at like, holy shit, what did we do? But I can guarantee you the New England Patriots and the Las Vegas Raiders will be looking up at everybody else. I can pretty much guarantee you that.
Yeah, those two teams.
How about Carolina?
Those two teams. Don't count out Carolina. Carolina did a bunch of nice things, so don't count them out completely. But I would definitely agree with you and add Denver by way of AFC. Those are the three bottom ends of the AFC in my opinion. I'm not sure who else would be down there, but Raiders, Denver, New England Patriots. It's unfortunate. On this side, I'm going to look at the top end. Your surprise teams: Washington, Atlanta, and your Chicago Bears.
Yep. Look at King Booker. Ryan Pace failing upward, coming to a theater near you. You ain't lying.
So it's like proof that having a solid barber, your barber you should tip your barber, yo. That's solid proof. Tip your barber, y'all.
Oh, that's crazy, man. I just look, man. When you got a good barber, you keep that.
Tip your barber, y'all. Tip your barber.
No question about it.
I don't know what that guy know about football, but his haircut's on point, though.
Hey, we cannot get out of this show without giving a super duper ass shout out to my guy Austin Reed, who blew that shit up. Did he not tear that motherfucker up?
No.
And it started off kind of rocky. It's like, what you own, man? You singing some Keisha Cole, man. What you own, man?
Look, first off, not a Keisha Cole fan. Second off, he was absolutely terrible. Third off, they loved it. So, like, I don't know what to say. The crowd was going crazy. Everyone was singing with him. He was hitting some of the notes. So, if the crowd likes it, you run with it. You go. So, big ups to Austin Reed.
Hey, he tore that shit up, man. You gotta give him.
He did.
He flexed on that.
I have to razz him because he was terrible. But
he flexed on him though.
He did. They loved it. They loved it. Everybody was grooving with him. So I can't wait to see a couple more of those as we go. And I expect to see a Caleb Williams redo on the final episode. Watch.
Yeah, that shit tripped me out. You don't expect a blonde-haired white kid to know the lyrics of a Keisha Cole song. You just don't. I was just like, no, this motherfucker ain't. And he did that shit. And that's why everybody turned up on him, because no, they was just like, no, he doing this shit. And this shit was tight though, because he had the whole team with him. That's, they had some good ones. I think Rome's was good, but Austin Reed tore it up, man. That's the best one so far. You got to give it to him. And anybody with any different opinion, go right ahead.
No, they loved it, man. Everybody was grooving. So shout outs to Austin Reed.
If you would have said, Nomad, Austin Reed is going to sing in his rookie little ceremony thing, he's going to sing Keisha Cole with blonde hair, and the whole goddamn building is going to come in an uproar after he gets done doing it. I'd be like, man, get your ass. Keep smoking whatever the fuck you smoking, but get away from me. You know what I mean? That's how I would have been. But he tore that shit up.
Man, sometimes the chat kills me, man. So Black Rain, there you go. Brian, whoever's on is on fire back here, but Black Rain, Keisha Cole is a bootleg Mary J.
That's cold. That's cold, bro. Why you do that? Why you do that, Black Rain? Come on, man.
Black Rain, that's solid, bro. That's golden. I had to go up there. That's so funny. Shout out to Keisha Cole and Mary J. Blige.
That's cold.
I'll give them ladies some love. Either way, it was funny. It was a good little set. I'm gonna say I enjoyed it. I'm not sure if I enjoyed it, but the team loved it. They were in their bag. They thought it was cool.
He said Austin played for Southern Illinois before WKU. Plenty of sisters at SIU. Austin probably got turned out.
Well,
he did, man.
Hey,
Never
man.
know.
Never know.
What say you, Brian? You pretty quiet up there, country.
I have no idea.
He's like, who's Coach
I know who Austin Reed is.
Mary J. Who?
That was I love that part of it, but my big ass takeaway is scrolling on the bottom. Damn it, if it's wiggling, you better damn hit it. That's Chicago style football. That's it. That was the key for me. Everything else I could have just erase all that. That was it. David Overstreet. That's my new dude right now, man. Teaching those dudes the right way to play Chicago style football, man. That's what's up. Man, we just gave you guys a couple, 2.5, almost 3 hours worth of coverage, man. That's what we just did. And we got to go do regular shit because it might be a Nomad Live tomorrow. Don't quote me. I'm going to see what happens overnight. We'll see if it's something worthwhile, and we'll see if we'll want to do a show or not. But we'll definitely be doing in-game, of course, and we'll probably stay in-game and just do a post-game instead of doing 2 damn thumbnails. I found out that was a silly exercise. We might as well stay where we are and continue the post-game show. Would you guys agree? What say you, kids?
Say this one more time now.
Doing the in-game show, we might as well just keep on going afterwards instead of going to another show, which we ended up losing people, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, you would say that.
I know.
So I would rather we don't do the post game and we just keep doing Nomad at night. This way, we do the in game and we do full post game during the one show.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I thought that's what.
Then I'm in full agreement with what you're saying.
Okay, and you don't need dropping people off to go to the next show. Yeah, that's probably the best way to go. Yes, 100%. But with that being said, any other takes before we get ready to wrap it up, Brian and kids? Anything else that you noticed during that? I could think of a couple of things, but I'm gonna leave it alone and see what you guys think.
No, I mean, it was a good episode.
Yeah, Not much more from me. Like they did a good job of sort of sharing the love across the board. Um, I'm I'd really like to know. I'd like to be a fly on the wall in in George McCaskey's living room when he's watching this. Just want to put that out there. I'd like to think that George McCaskey would be like. I think he'd be very pleased with what Hard Knocks has done so far, and I think he should be.
FFG style asked me, "Do no?" He says, "Nomad, will Austin Reed make the team over Ripley?" See, I don't think that's the something's telling me. All right, this is how I think of offensive coordinators when they get into a new building. They like in this situation, they knew that they were going to draft Caleb Williams when Shane Waldron came in here. The plan was doing that when the hiring process was about drafting Caleb Williams. We can just assume that now. Now Caleb Williams has to have a backup. And so, what guy do you think in this draft, whether he's somebody we draft late or somebody that might fall off and end up in as a UDFA, what guy do you want to bring up under Caleb as his kind of understudy? That's the way I see Austin Reed. Ripien is just somebody that was here to basically keep the system flowing. He knew what to do, and he's a perfect example for what everybody else needs to learn how to do. Does that mean he doesn't make the team? No, I think he's looked excellent in the preseason. So I think we're looking at two different situations. We're talking about a guy that they probably want to groom to bring up behind Caleb Williams versus a guy that we brought into camp to make sure that the camp flowed well and we had a quarterback that knows what he's doing and we have an example for all the quarterbacks to look at. You see what he did on this play, you see what he did on that play. He knows the system. This is your basically this is how you identify what to do. That's the way you need to look at those two quarterbacks, FFG, who makes the team and who doesn't. It's all about the virtue to me of Shane Waldron. And what does he think is more important? The development of Austin Reed or to keep Ripien for continuity? That's the question. I don't know the answer to it.
Well, you can put Austin Reed on the practice squad, and likely he's not going to get poached. Ripien, you can't put him on the practice squad. He will get poached. About that simple, at least in my opinion. The real question just it surrounds Tyson Bagent and whether they keep him as the the heir apparent number 2 backup or to Caleb Williams, or do they move him? Because if they move him, then it actually solves your quarterback question, FFG. Right.
I'm pretty much in agreement with what you said, Kez. I'm just going to word it just a little bit different. What I would like to see on Thursday night's game, I basically just want Bagent and Ripken as quarterback. I don't want any teams to see any more on Reed. Put him on the practice squad. You know he won't get plucked.
I'm sorry, Austin Reed. I'm sorry to your parents. I'm just saying that they should probably put him on ice. Yeah. This way he can stick around for another year and folks won't mess with what's happening there.
Even as far as that goes, say week 7 and the Bears do trade Bagent to wherever. Okay, you're on the practice squad now. Now we're promoting weeks. You're probably not going to play this year, but you're on the team.
It's going to be interesting to see what they think and how they want to go about it. I'm either going to be dead ass right or dead ass wrong. One of the two things.
Well, that's pretty much 50-50.
Yeah, it's life, ain't it? But
Mr. Obvious.
Yeah, but with that being said though, man, we got to get ready to get out of here, man. We got some I've already started and I got to do a little bit more work starting to scout out Tennessee to see what it's going to look like. I'm not saying that I won't look at Kansas City and their backups and what to be looking for. Come and watch that show while we watch the end game. With that, there's going to be plenty of stuff to talk about there. but I'm also at the same time dually looking at Tennessee and starting to scout them out and seeing what to look out for there, some of the keys and some of the key players and all that kind of stuff that comes with, being a podcaster and talking about football. And so, with that being said, let me pass it on to the Canuck man for some pleasantry before we get out of here.
Well, it was a fun show. I enjoyed it. I like what they're doing with Caleb Williams. I think this is really gonna help his wow. Imagine I'm saying what I'm about to say. I think it's gonna help his trajectory. Strangely enough, being on this show, I think it kind of allows him to get slight little digs back at the media for taking slight little shots and digs at him without him having to take the public digs, if you know what I'm saying. And I like it. I think that's really cool of them. I love what they're doing with the defense. I love how chippy the defense has become. Man, like there's so many good things to say, but I'm just going to wrap it all up into saying that HBO, you're doing a great job of highlighting and emphasizing specific parts of this football team that generally don't get brought to light. A lot of that bear tax that we talked about earlier on, why Jalen Johnson hasn't received, wasn't on that top 100 list. I think this removes a lot of that stigma and helps to turn some of these guys into much bigger names in the NFL. Again, Jalen Johnson being a key recipient of that shine. I think he deserves all of it. That being said, well done, you guys. Well done, HBO. Great show. I applaud it. Big love to the No Maniacs. C Spags 007. What's cracking? Thanks for coming through. Bearski Film is with us. Jay Grizz, what it do? Hey, Paulie. Leo Factor. Who else we got? FFG Style was out there. King Booker World spent some time with us today. Black Rain 7920. Who else we got? The Nodge. The Nodge is a real one. Derek Carter's out there. Mr. Mayhem. The Scrolls. Ant Moss. Jim Hunter. What's cracking? Scottish Bear held it down with us for a little bit. Brian Gilmore's out there. Man, we got a pretty packed house. I enjoyed the show, folks. Hopefully you did too. If you didn't get to watch it, check it out. And before I roll over to Country Santa, we'll do let me see what should we do.
Here we go.
Here we go. I think we'll do this. Shout out my guy J2K Designs. Big ups to you. And join the Superflex Fantasy Football Show and League. You can kick it with guys like our homie the Nodge, King Booker World, Jim Hunter. There's a whole my Fruit Grills in there too. There's a whole slew of folks joining up. We'd love to have you. Just hit the website the-nomad-network.com. Grab yourself a t-shirt if you want to actually join in and put your money where your mouth is. If you don't, free 99. Join up to the free league. We'll chop it up, talk trash, and have some fantasy football fun together. Outside of that, Country Santa.
No Maniacs, thanks for putting up with us another night. Always great to be here with guys on the panel and you guys in the chat talking Bears football. I really enjoyed the episode of Hard Knocks, and I want to give a shout out to HBO Max for putting the show on time and not pissing everybody off like last week. I'm glad they learned their lesson. I'm really looking forward to Thursday night's game because
I'm glad nobody took my bet before. I just put that out there. Squash the bet.
Thursday night's game, I'm thinking probably about 45 to 49 guys is probably on the team, and to see who wants it, who wants to be a Chicago Bear is going to be interesting, and I think that'll make Thursday night's game interesting. I'm also looking forward to talking about, in our opinions, who. Wow. All right, I guess I've talked too long. Go ahead.
My bad.
Good night, folks.
I can take a hint, Nick.
Don't worry about it, man. Listen, are you done? Go ahead and finish if you needed to.
No, hell, I got a complex now.
All right, man. Listen, man. It was a good time doing this. And my energy is still what it says. And I'm reading it. It does look funny, man, when as I'm reading it, because we live in weird times and people take everything the wrong way. They put dirt on, if it's wiggling, hit it. That might sound like something else, but that's football talk to me. That's real football talk to me. And I really, really enjoyed that part of the show, him talking to those guys. Great job by HBO to make sure they got that in there, because apparently throughout that game, that was one of the overriding things that I'm sure HBO and Hard Knocks must have noticed. Like, these dudes are out here hitting these cats, right? And so they made sure that they put that layered into the show so that it was emphasized, right? That's how that stuff comes out. The edit room and the edit floor is full of all kinds of shit that happened during that week in training camp, but they picked that part up and was like, we should emphasize this. They out here tagging these cats. That is Chicago style football, folks. That's what the shirt is all about. No, I'm not trying to sell, but it is at the website if you want it. It's there for a reason. That's what it's all about. But man, what a good show, man. There was a lot of stuff that I can really, really put my hat on as far as hang my hat on as far as some of my takeaways from the show that I didn't get to, but I can't go there. But I really think Austin Reed, man, old Blondie did it, man. Old Blondie did it, man. Austin Reed tore it up. And I did love the fact that the cross training between Flus and Caleb was going really good. I in the little bit of the snapshot that I got with Caleb and Flus was really good. I love that part of it, but I think you guys are right. The part that he was cross training Tyson Bagent at, cross checking with him and making sure that he understood what he was looking at. That's football gold right there. You just heard. People are going to be talking about that throughout the week, and a lot of people will be highlighting it. Trust me when I tell you, that was football gold you just got, you bear witness to in the show. That's exactly what you want when you're talking to a quarterback, recognition. And so with that being said, we do have to get out of here, and we will be here, if nothing else, on game day for in-game and post-game during the same show. But with that being said, we got to go. I got stuff I got to do. I'm sure everybody else does, but we love you guys for being here and being a part of everything that we do. But before we go, I got to leave you with these famous words. And believe this in your heart and soul, Bears fans, because if you can think it and you can see it, Bear fans, why not manifest it? Stop being scared. Get out of your own way and let's make something great happen, Bears fans. But we are out.